Hello YouTube, HPZeta here today, and first thing that you'll notice is there's a wider angle, and the reason for that is Derpy camera isn't going to be used anymore. Until I can get the 3000 and odd to get a pancake lens, I'm just not going to use that camera. For now I'm using my LG G3. It's a cell phone camera. I want to see how this looks, I want to see how much noise is there in the white areas, how the screen looks. And there's a chance that I might actually just use that from now on, because watching my other videos, hearing the focus mechanism, it's driven me insane. And yeah, it's just going to use something else from now on. I need to make a plan to get the videos a bit better. So what I'm using is my LG G3 on a tripod and some blue tack to hold it down. Or for those of you that don't know what blue tack is, it's Presti. It's just white instead of blue. But nonetheless, I'm just giving that a go. If this does look a lot better, I'll get a little mount for the cell phone or something that will work a bit better. But this is just a test. Anyhow, so as many of you know, I haven't made a video for about 2 weeks, and that's mostly due to the fact that the power cables were stolen 2 weeks ago from the substation. And that caused about a 2 to 3 day power outage here. It doesn't sound like much, but seeing as most of my things I do in my spare time in the evening, everything had to be moved to the weekend, and as a result I didn't do any talkies or anything on the weekend because there just wasn't time. To compound the problem, when the power did come back on, it did something at the local ADSL exchange, which meant I didn't have internet, and apparently my neighbours didn't either. So I had to go to a friend's house to upload some of the videos that you saw this week for the gameplays. I know they were terrible. I'm going to do some new gameplays videos. They're not doing that as well as I think they get like 16 views out of the 50 that I normally expect from a video. But I want to do gameplays on games that I enjoy, so it's going to be more entertaining to watch. So things like Doom WADs and Doom Hacks and that sort of stuff, that's going to get front row. I'm also going to try some point-and-click adventures, because that will give me enough time to talk, and I might actually even replace some of the weekend talkies with long plays. Basically videos where I talk about things and while I play a point-and-click adventure, because a lot of the time in a point-and-click adventure is actually spent walking around and doing puzzles, so it gives you a lot of off time to talk. Nonetheless, pickups this week hasn't been that great. Last week I decided to post an advert to FreeCycle. Now for those of you that don't know FreeCycle is basically a website where if you don't want something, you can either put an advert on there saying that you've got it and you don't want this thing anymore, so you're giving it away for free. So hence why you keep it out of the trash, out of the recyclers, and it goes to a good home. It's a very good concept. Or you can go, you can post an ad, and someone that has something might look through the ads and find an ad of yours and say, I've got this, I've got too many of this, or it's taking up too much room, or I'm downscaling, or I really like your story, here you can have this. And I post a thing on there just asking for computers from the 90s and 80s. It's worth a shot. I did have one very good comeback. I just need to make time to go and collect it from the person. And yeah, so 2 weeks ago a lady phoned me up. She said she's got a whole bunch of computer stuff. Her husband's away currently, she's busy spring cleaning, and she wants to get rid of the things, and she's going to be in my area that week. So I drove there, I drove to meet her. I did try and do some video recording, but video capture in the car is very difficult. Nonetheless, I got there and she gave me a very nice Pentium 4 computer case with 2 laptops. One of them is an Intel Centrino, which needs a little bit of work, and the other one is a Celeron, which also needs a little bit of work, but I love laptops. They take up so much room, so when you're doing a server or you're doing something, you just need a small computer. Nothing beats having a laptop, especially seeing as how little power it takes. It takes like less than 100 watts to power a laptop, versus a desktop which is about 120 to 150 watts. And what she wanted me to do was fix one of her Xboxes that she was also going to give away to someone in need, and I fixed that out for her. I let her know that it's fixed. The original arrangement was that she's got some other stuff she'll give me when I fix it. I don't mind, I don't expect anything in return. and I just need to go deliver the Xbox store for her. So that's my first pickup, and I'm pretty darn happy about that. Got 3 computers out of the deal. 2 needs work, and one of them a Pentium 4 hyper-threading computer, which is nice for retro games, by the way. Works 100%. So I'm really happy that I got that. And that's following that day I actually drove down to my favorite charity shop, and I got a few things. Nothing retro. None of my pickups this time around is retro. First thing that I got is Creatures 2, and that's it there. I got it for £5, so that is 50 cents US cents, or 40 US cents. The other thing that I got is Dogs 2, and Dogs 2 I actually have fond memories of growing up, because this is the first game that we had the shareware version, and being a kid and just learning about this great thing called cracking, I spent weeks trying to crack the shareware version into a full version so that my sister can play the game. For those of you that don't know, Dogs is basically Nintendogs, decade earlier. No mic input and no touchscreen, but it's the exact same thing basically. Uses 2D sprites to animate the dogs. They actually look pretty darn good. Then they had a whole bunch of sealed games there in a little basket in front, and I presume these were some of the ones that went to cheap retailers. And they always had these carousels that had a whole bunch of soft key games and cheap shareware games and things in there for pretty cheap. Normally like $100, $120 a game. So I picked up all of the ones they had there because these are actually pretty good. The first one is Tribes by Sierra. This is the latest version including new content, so that's pretty good. I already have Tribes 2 non-sealed, but I'll probably end up giving the sealed one away to someone. That one was 10 rand, so $1. Homeworld by Sierra. And this will actually run on my retro rig. The specs isn't that heavy. It'll run on there, and it'll be pretty happy to run on there. The game itself is pretty good. It's a strategy space simulator, and yeah, it's a really, really good game. I'm looking forward to playing this again. I haven't played Homeworld in years. For 10 rand, I can't complain. It's the Game of the Year edition. A quick bit of novelty for you guys. If you ever come across any of the Sierra games with a serial key inside, it'll have a serial key on the inner manual. You can type that serial key into Steam, and Steam will recognize it as a Half-Life Game of the Year pack. So you will get Half-Life 1, Half-Life Opposing Forces, Half-Life Blue Shift, and Counter-Strike for free from Steam if you type in that key, because Steam thinks that it's Counter-Strike for some reason, which is pretty darn cool. If you don't already have Half-Life, you can get it from Steam, a legitimate version, by typing in, I think Homeworld has it, a Homeworld key and a Tribes 2 key, which is pretty darn fantastic. Then the other thing that I picked up is Amazing 3D Fonts Maker. I'm not trying it, it's this Amazing 3D Font Maker. And yeah, I love the look of old CG. For those of you that watch the Outer Limits, that sort of thing, the old CG where you could see it's so horrible, so fake, but it has this nostalgic feel with me, and I'm going to be using this in my video to do stupid things with. It's still sealed. I'll probably have to put it on one of my older systems to get it working. It doesn't have minimum requirements or anything at the back, so I'm about 90% sure that it needs to be on a very old system, because it was designed for Windows 95 and higher. So expect more 90s cheese in my videos. Then yesterday I went to my local charity shop that I've got that's close to me, and expecting to find more PC games, because last time that's where I got all of those PC games from, and I'm sure that there must have been some other ones. Nonetheless, I went through there and there wasn't any, and in the last rack that you pull out of CDs, I found some DS games, and these all still have their prices on there from original, and they weren't marked. And I found more Brain Training, which is the sequel to Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training, which I don't believe in the whole brain training thing. I don't think that's how your brain actually works. I do, however, like all of the puzzles and things that you get with playing one of these, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first one because it's nice to catch up with your basic math skills and just assist with that. The other thing that I picked up there is 42 all-time classics. Now, for those of you that don't watch Metal Jesus Rocks, this is actually in his top 10 DS games. And the reason for that is it has a whole bunch of card games, there's blackjack, and there's a whole bunch of games on here. And they're all nice games to play on the go. For instance, I think it had chess, backgammon, and all bunch of things. So I'm actually glad to have one of these, because you can put this in your DS pouch, and when you've got nothing to do, it's one of these, just slap it in, you can play a game. Then you're probably going to laugh, I picked up Nintendogs. And for those of you that don't know, this game does deserve quite a bit of recognition. This saved the Nintendo DS. The reason being is when the DS first got released, the developers, none of them knew what to do with the system. It has two screens, it has a touch screen and a microphone, and how do you use that in a game, and how do you get the best of the system? So what ended up happening, especially the first lot of games before Nintendogs came out, is that you always had the action on the top screen and a map at the bottom screen and some clickable icons. Very few of them used the microphone. If they did, it was just blowing into the microphone or doing something stupid like that. And as a result, the system didn't fare well. The first DS was big and bulky and no one picked it up, and Nintendo needed to do something. So they did two things. They released the Nintendo DS Lite and they released the Nintendogs for the system. They put a lot of effort into Nintendogs and how the system works and plays, and it utilizes everything from the touchscreen to the microphone, and that gave the developers an example of what to do with the system and how can you implement all of these things, like saying a name and the dog will react to it, touching the dog a certain way will react differently, stroking the screen fast or slow will react and do different things. All of that showed the developers what it can do. The new redesigned Nintendo DS Lite was thin enough and compact enough to make it attractive for gamers to buy the system, because it was once again pocket carryable. And this game saved the DS. It needs some recognition, even though it sold in the millions. It's one of the most common games you can pick up. The simple fact is that this saved the system, and it needs some recognition at least. And the last game they had there was Colin McRae Rally Dirt 2. And it's probably the one I played the most out of the lot. And they're all fairly decent. All of them do have manuals and things, but they're all crinkled and the covers are very dirty. But I took them to the till because they weren't marked. Thinking the worst, because all of them actually has the old prices, 500 Rand on there, on the back. I asked them how much to go check the pricing for it, no, thinking the worst, because normally it goes to the one lady there and she always pushes the pricing up to ridiculous levels. And 15 minutes went by, they came through and they said they can't find the other lady, so they asked the second in command what the prices was, and she said 30 Rand each, which I thought was pretty darn good. So for those of you in America, that's $3 a game. It's pretty good for DS games, to be honest, and that's why I thought I'll just take all of them, because I'm not going to see DS games at that price again for some time, unless more of them appear at the charity shops, which if they do, that they disappear at the same time. People buy them almost instantly for their kids. So that's all my pickups. Nothing really retro there except for the free fonts thing. I can have some 90s cheesy fonts. That might be a bit interesting. Who knows if it supports animations, because it says 3D animated or stationary images. So who knows, I might actually finally make an intro for my channel. Nonetheless, I'm pretty happy with those. And I don't have much to talk about this week. Chris released his new Mega EverDrive. Awesome piece of kit, but then you look at the price and it's very, very, very expensive. in his defense, the sort of FPGAs and the electronics he uses on there, they're not cheap, and he's charging a reasonable amount of money for that. I'm just thinking that maybe you can do a once programmable card that you have to take out, program your PC if you want to play a different game, and put it back into your Mega Drive. That'll work out cheaper, and that's the sort of thing that people should look at. I think he released something like in those lines the other day, but I want to do something really cheap, like 200 or 300 rand, get a cartridge, you can program it via USB on a computer, you can load 1 or 2 games on there and play it on your Mega Drive. I think that's the next thing to do, and it makes sense to do it that way. Nonetheless, that's not actually what I want to talk about today, and what I want to talk about today is something really serious and bad. Is at work, I'm really not coping. I'm not getting along well with my boss. I like strict people, I like people that follow guidelines and things. He is strict, but he's very unfair and very one-sided. And he's the sort of person that wants everything done exactly his way whilst it's wrong, which in IT you can't do that. There's so many ways to do the same thing in IT. The other thing is, he's not passionate about computers at all. It's a day job for him. And for those of us in IT, I'm sure you've all had at least one boss like that. Once a person is like that, once there's no passion for computers, it means that there's no development, there's no extra effort, and it becomes very difficult to work with someone like that. So I've been sending my CV away. Last time I was looking for a job, it took me a year to get a job again. The South African job market it's messed up. But during this time, it's given me some time to think about alternative income streams and things, and I've been thinking that it might be worthwhile if I can get an investor to start what's known as a hackerspace in South Africa. And for those of you that don't know, that don't follow people like the Geek Group or those people, hackerspace is basically a gym for geeks. You pay a couple $100 a month to utilize the gym. And when you get there, there's normally people that's very trained and very specialist in certain things that can help you. And there's also tools that you don't normally get to keep in your house because they're either too big, they cost too much, or they're out of your reach, or you only want to do one little thing and you want to use that tool once, so it doesn't make sense spending a lot of money to buy that tool. No, that is what a hackerspace is. It's a gym for geeks. And there's one in Centurion. I haven't contacted them yet. I probably should, but what I was thinking about was, I'm a gamer as well, and that's my side of electronics. How would people react to going to a hackerspace for gaming? Going there, getting a whole bunch of systems that they can either play on there, they still pay their membership and they can play the systems, they can play the old consoles like I've got. Or they go to the next room and there's all of this repair equipment which I've got already, expertise and things that we can teach people how to repair game consoles. They can fix their own consoles at the hackerspace, or upgrade them or mod them, and we can teach people the skills needed to do that. And then have a normal hackerspace as well, and that means normal big drills and things like that for woodwork and that sort of thing. 3D printers, we're going to need one of those. I think that will work in South Africa. I think there's a market for that. The only problem is funding, and it's going to cost about 100, 200,000 rand to set something up like that, because you need to float it for a few months until you get membership, and you need to make it worth people's while, and the right equipment and things, and all that costs money. I'm thinking about doing something like that, or just going out of the box, not going back into IT or the corporate world. This corporate is starting to be a problem. I do have a lot of electronics experience. I can't go into the electronics field because I don't have any certificates. And people won't give you a chance unless you've got a certificate due to liability and that sort of thing. So I can see their point. But something has to change, and I can't just quit and things, because if I do that, I'm going to sit another year without a job. It's just not worth it. So that's basically the only news of my life, is trying to find another career that I can go into. Other thing is, you'll notice that Diddy Kong is playing in the background this week. That's my game, it's playing on the SNES. That's the one I decided to demo today. Next week it'll probably be something different. The thing is, I can't show you the Xbox games because the fan is too loud. So it's a bit of a balance trying to find games that I can demo properly. So, what's to come? More videos. I got another box in from the source, so there's going to be more repair videos. A huge chunk of my videos, they're gone forever. The memory card, I think someone took it, or it got vacuumed up or something because it's not in the house anymore. And I'll probably put up some partial videos that I can salvage. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And yeah, that's all from me, HP Zeta, and until next time, goodbye. Oh, and let me know how the video quality looks now.